One of the biggest problems, anytime a business owner tries to sell a company to somebody who's what we call an insider in the business, could be a kid, manager, somebody who's inside the business and has to use the money, the profits out of the company to buy the business. The biggest threat to the success of that transaction is usually taxes, right? This is why. The business, which is going to create all the profits for our buyer to pay off the business. Every time the business pays those profits, the buyer receives them, there's a layer of tax, right? We've talked about in other videos. Be sure to click we'll link to it here in the description, that any kind of principal repayment of any kind of debt is not tax deductible. And so we've got to use net after-tax dollars to our buyer to go through and take care of the transaction, where they're going to pay that money to the seller, and in that transaction, there's a second layer of tax. Buyer's got to pay tax on the profit, seller pays tax on the gain that they're realizing out of the sale, and so you have these two layers of tax, the double tax involved in a business sale, and it can be a massive threat to the success of any kind of insider transfer, because it's not uncommon for half the value, half the money in this total transaction, whether it's 5 years, 10 years long, the IRS is going to get 50 cents of every single dollar involved out of the profit of the business. So if your company's worth $5 million and you sold it in this type of transaction for $5 million, some back of the napkin kind of math, I would be anticipating the IRS may be earning somewhere in the neighborhood of $5 million for the seller to get their $5 million out of the company. If you're looking at that and say, that stinks, I don't want the IRS to get $5 million for my $5 million business, I'd say, great, click the link in the description. Let's take advantage of an opportunity to review, see what might make sense for you.